Nerds International proudly presents
Coming at you live from the mean streets of Harlem, it's me, Nick Lambslice.
And me, Harrison Hunt, aka Scaffra Grodaz. And we are
The Tabletop Twats.
And James, sadly, is no longer with us.
He got eradicated.
That's right. He was killed by none other than Godzilla himself. But we can do one better, actually, because we've got an amazing guest for you today. That's right. It's the Queen of England, everyone.
Hey!
No,
Thank you. It is a genuine pleasure to be here.
No, don't make jokes.
Get out, Queenie.
Don't make jokes.
Fuck's sake, I'm off.
What was rule number one?
Okay, he's actually left. But no, we thought to ourselves, who can we get on our budget? Unfortunately, Owen Lean is actually free, so we've got him today. He is a magician, an actual wizard, and he is also a writer who has written for Pinnacle, actual Pinnacle, who
And a
makes
registered
Savage Worlds.
gangster.
A registered gangster, actual convicted dog botherer. It's Owen Lean. Say hello, Owen.
Oh yes, a convicted dog botherer. That's going on the CV right there. Yeah.
Welcome to the lair.
But no, it's a very this is an honour really. I mean, I thought being on the Wild Eye was amazing, but this is the height. It really is. I mean, I'm a twat all the time. But now I'm a tabletop twat. That's just
Official. It's official.
You're the third most famous guest we've ever had on this show.
amazing.
But, ladies and gentlemen, this is an RPG show all about tabletop RPGs, and we've got a show that's got so much fucking features in it that you might get a disease. So we've got the feedback side, we've got what you've been slaying, we've got the main subject, which this week is going to be
LARPing.
And then we've got adventure calls, followed by the Chamber of Challenges, and then, of course, electro letters. Let's get on with it with the bloody feedback side. The feedback side. The feedback side. The feedback side. The feedback side. Yeah. The feedback section. The feedback section. So first up, we got an email from Luke Enyart. Now strap in, because this is a pretty long one. He says, "Hey Triple T's, I am loving your show. I originally found you by looking for DCC actual plays. My successful luck check led me to your podcast. I must compliment you on your style, clearly influenced by the Delvers series. You've hit the mark with your use of sound effects. Typing this, I can still hear Cutthroat Jenkins breaking a pub table in a fool after Minoc tripped him. The sense of humour you work through the beggars has me laughing my arse off through every episode. Your other episodes are excellent. I appreciate your game reviews and respect that you offer honest impressions of both the good and bad elements of what you've covered. Because of the Blackwood and GenLab alpha shows, I am planning on checking out both games. The episode you did while drinking confirmed what a friend and I suspected years ago. The plural of Guinness is Guinea."
It's true. Yeah.
God bless Arthur Guinness. Being a Gen X grognard who cut his RPG teeth on first edition AD&D, I have to admit I was a bit sad that you guys had a bad impression of the game. I just listened to the Grognard Files podcast that had a 3-part series on AD&D, and it was great. Not expecting you to put together 3 shows, but I would love it if you did one on it. Keep being yourselves and doing the podcast for your own enjoyment, and you will continue to make great podcasts. You have an open invitation to play in a DCC game or my AD&D game at our friendly local game store, Gateway Games, if you're ever in Cincinnati, Ohio. Sincerely, Luke Enyart.
How much did we pay him for that?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Is he on the payroll or what?
Yeah, I slipped him 20 quid for that one.
I was going to say.
That's very kind.
What a lovely, lovely message.
You should do a second edition D&D podcast sometime though, an AD&D. That would be amusing, getting hold of some real old school stuff and
Well,
review
my mate Phil actually is really, really into AD&D, and I was going to get him on once to do it, but he stopped playing, so fuck him.
Because
He's the guy that exclusively played AD&D only, wasn't he? Forever.
Yeah, for years.
Yeah,
for years. And then he played Shadowrun and was like, actually, other games are good.
I didn't realise there was other games.
Because all the AD&D video games are now on your phones. You can get Baldur's Gate and stuff on your, on your phone. Oh, I know, man. I got I re-downloaded both of them, and I've just every spare moment I've got when the baby's not needing my attention, the selfish git, I'm now playing that.
Well, they're about 100 hours long, so
exactly,
give it about 3 years. You'll be done with it.
Yeah, but then when you finish it, you just want to start with a different character and play something different. It's
we'll probably do an AD&D podcast in 10 years.
that's fair.
One day?
Yeah. When you've got the budget to visit Cincinnati, Ohio, yeah.
Then we'll get him on the show. Cheers, Luke. That's a very, very kind email. I appreciate that. Tim White comes in and he says, is there an episode that covers Harrison's half-made, half-shark status? I believe he actually left this message on Patreon. If you go over to our Patreon, chuck us the buck, there's a bit where it says Harrison is half-made, half-shark. That is a reference to a really, really terrible game I played at work once where my character was half-made, half-shark. I mean, it's not a reference anyone will get. I just thought it was so absurd that I put it in the Patreon description.
Yeah, but that terrible game is clearly a story you have to tell sometime.
I will eventually.
That's bonus.
That's
content,
a fireside tale,
Exactly.
Next one.
Jason Connolly comes in regarding episode 33. He says, for a first-time listener, it was a great show with some really neat ideas, not to mention some really juvenile ones.
Well, we got. If we're anything, we're consistent.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's. I would say 90% juvenile. 10% neat.
Yeah.
And next up, I think this guy's going to win Best Name of the Year. It's Meven Stephen.
Meven Stephen, that's amazing.
He comes in and says, please dedicate your lives to mass producing this series. And he's talking about Foreign Beggars. I would love to do that, Meven, but I would be dead. Because those are bloody hard to make, mate. So, no.
I think the answer to that is if people want you to do that, they need to send you more money on Patreon, basically,
Yeah, once we hit the £1 million,
we're all yours.
We're all yours, mate. I'll be mass producing it till, and no, in fact, what I'll do is I'll pay somebody to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll come round your house.
I'll outsource it to China.
Speaking of Patreon, I actually am one of your patrons, so you're not getting me for free. You're actually getting me for minus £5 a month, actually.
So you're paying us to be
I'm
here.
actually paying you to be here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So take note, listeners. If you want to be on the show,
pay
all
us.
you need to do is pay us a £5.
Cross our palm with silver, mate, and we're coming to record in your front room.
We are extremely cheap. But that's it for feedback.
Nice feedback this time.
We did have nasty ones, but I just cut them out because my feelings got hurt.
Got quite upset.
But let's move on to what we've been playing in...
What you've been slaying.
Yes!
Oi! Yeah? What you slaying?
First of all, let's start off with Pantheon Towers. Owen,
Yes.
describe this.
Right, so this is a game that I've been running for a while now. This is a game that I originally came up with as a one-shot for Savage Insider magazine, which is a Savage Worlds magazine that hasn't published in a couple of years now. And it never actually got out because the issue it was going to be in never happened, which was a shame. But that back then it was called Olympus Towers. But then, what are they called? Fabled Environments and Charles White's company came out with Olympus Inc. So I thought, I'm better change the name because there's only room for one setting in Savage Worlds with the word Olympus in it, really. So
Did you not settle it with like a playground fight? Who's keeping the name?
Well, no, because he had...
I'm the real Olympus here.
Not really, because he had a much bigger budget than mine. His was an entire book already written.
And a full legal stuff.
and also his was a session that most people are actually going to be able to relate to and play, as opposed to this one. So Pantheon Towers is a cross between Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief and Attack the Block.
Okay,
or Man Them on the Wall, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's a bunch of hoodies between sort of generally between sort of 16 and 20, hanging out on what has been rated number one in the in the original I called it the Morning Papers, but it's clearly the Daily Mail. His list of top 10 most dangerous council estates.
Croydon.
Yeah, but basically, yeah. So you can probably think of a few in Croydon. Yeah, somewhere in the East End of London, anyway. And it's these bunch of random hoodies suddenly get involved in finding out that the Greek gods have come back, but they're just now dudes hanging out on the estate, basically. And big gang war kicks off, and then in that, it's in the one shot, it's just one proper sort of goddess has come back, and some of the titans have come back.
Okay, cool.
Ones, but at the end of it, you defeat the titans, and as a result, cause the other gods to come back. So the game that I'm running now is set 2 years later, and there's a load of them
Zeus
all over
turn
London.
up, yeah.
Yes, Zeus has turned up. He is he's actually Harrison's patron in
Oh, really?
the game. Yeah,
I forget what his name is. What?
He's called King Jams because each of them merge with a mortal, and they become something that is both the mortal and the god now, as it were, or the ancient as they call themselves.
Okay.
King Jams is a 80-year-old homeless geezer who now has Zeus in him, and he is seriously pissed off because now he's an 80-year-old homeless geezer. He doesn't get to have nearly as much sex as he wants to.
Dear.
Because he stinks.
And he's just
ugly,
mad at the world.
So as you know,
dear.
99% of the problems are caused in the original Greek myths were because Zeus couldn't keep it in his pants, so he's now proper annoyed that that's going on. And Dionysus has split himself into two people, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Twins called Dion and Isis.
Nice.
Who run a really trendy nightclub in Soho where dodgy things go down. But yeah, Harrison is now playing in part of the game.
Yeah.
Do you want to describe your character?
My character, obviously, he's got powers from Zeus, and he's young, so he's got the young hindrance, but he's like a young, not pop star, but he's a young rapper called Young Juice, and he's like a really, really unbelievably stupid kid that drives a moped.
Oh, God.
And he's pretty cool, and he's like, yeah, blood. You want to fight, blood? And he's so cocky and arrogant, but like, yeah, he's got these powers. So he's got like lightning based powers and stuff, and he's just this arrogant fuck. So he's come along to the party where these other guys that are like smart, they've got powers, and we've got another guy who's like a shop owner. We've got another guy who's like a Rastafarian dude. And then they're going around doing stuff, and then this kid just turns up and thinks he can solve all their problems, basically. And every time he introduces himself, he's like, "Yo, what's up? My name's Young Juice. New album dropping soon."
You want my CD? Take my CD.
And he's really fun to play because he's so arrogant. Like, there's this bit where we turn up. I was trying to distract like a rival gang essentially and draw them away from their gym, where we were trying to draw them away from their gym so that we could fuck it up. And so
don't mess with a man's gym equipment.
They had sports cars basically, and were sitting on them all smoking and chatting. And I rolled up on my moped, and my attempt to distract them was, even though I was only on a moped, I just rolled up and was like, "Oi, dickhead!" and then just drove off. Yeah.
In fairness, at that point, I believe Dan, who was playing the Rastafarian character, threw a fish at them and used the Ace adventure card, so it automatically got a raise to his face.
Oh, nasty.
But then you got away from that. He crashed, and then driving back, you managed to crash into another car and kill one of the main NPCs in the crash.
So I was rolling so well and playing the right adventure cards that I actually the two guys that were chasing me in sports cars, I managed to fuck them up completely.
Nice.
On a moped, and didn't die myself. It was stupid. Like, it shouldn't have worked. But
and one of those NPCs has an ability where his skin is heavy armour, so he's meant to be almost impossible to kill, but because he crashed into the moped, he's like, getting hit in a car crash counts as a heavy weapon.
Yep.
And he rolled, I can't believe how much damage it was ridiculous. And of course he wasn't wearing a seatbelt because he's a dickhead.
Of course.
So,
Did he fly out
he
the front
was just smashed all over the place. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That was brilliant.
One thing that was pretty funny as well was that in the next session we did a street race, and I managed to keep up with all the sports cars for the whole race on the moped because I was rolling so well.
You must have put one of them little kits on the moped that makes them go that little bit faster. De-restricted or something? Do you remember?
I believe you used some homemade booze that one of the characters had made in his bathtub as nitro.
Lawrence, he's got this like bathtub booze, and it's my character
89% proof or something like that.
And my character calls it Lawrence Juice.
Oh god!
But it was so funny because my character's like this rude boy guy, and Lawrence is like this proper thespian actor type who's constantly pissed. Think like Withnail from Withnail.
Yeah, I was just about that. I've got a bastard behind behind the eyes. Yeah.
And the funny thing is that me and him went to go and scope out the route, and it was just the stupidest like pair of people like to go and scope out a route ever.
Genuinely hilarious.
And to get like a better view of it, we were on both opposite sides of the road, and so the whole conversation was shouted the entire time.
Check out!
We were like, you seen anything yet? And he's like, there are no pubs around here. Why am I sober? And then when the race started,
sober.
when the race started, I was like, he was like, I don't. He starts his car and he's like, I don't remember this route at all. And I'm like, remember all the pubs we saw? And he's like, I remember everything.
Nice.
Very, very, very interesting setting. I absolutely love it.
But yeah, not the most commercial, sadly, because most people outside of London aren't going to relate to London.
Yeah.
Can I get you on the record saying "fuck Olympus Inc"? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
no, I will not say that. No, Charles is a lovely human being. Yeah.
I think we all read between the lines there.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, we've been playing a lot of Solomon Kane recently, haven't we, Nick?
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, you loving it?
Oh mate, always one of my favourite. Hands down, one of my favourite campaigns I've ever played, and that's a bold statement because we've played some crackers, and but no, it's up there. It's fantastic.
So there's a lot that happened recently, but we'll just talk about the most recent session. So for those that don't know, Solomon Kane is a 17th century, late 16th century game, except for the fact that there are monsters and shit in it, right? And magic and things.
Magic and ting, yep.
But in this game, there's one. The mission they've done recently was kind of a heist in the Vatican City.
Oh man, yeah.
And Solomon Kane's Kane.
Yep.
Was being held in a museum.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, it's actually called the Staff of Kane, but,
Staff of Kane, but yeah, I mean,
they don't speak very good English in Italy,
So it's got to be a cane. Yeah,
so they were calling it the Solomon Kane. And they had it in this museum, and basically Solomon Kane had set up these wards on it that would curse any city or any area if somebody were to unlawfully take it off him. And so this museum had it, and it was causing everyone in the town to beat each other up.
Turn a bit savage, yeah.
And that was basically it. And everyone in the town was insane, and so the party had been tasked with basically doing a heist and going into the museum and taking it back. Their plan was woefully well, it wasn't a plan, was it? They basically went to the museum, climbed up on a tall tree, and tried to chuck a Molotov cocktail in to blow it up.
Yeah.
Could you make him? I suppose you could do a Molotov cocktail back then. You invented the Molotov cocktail.
We had Celtic fire. It was even better than that.
Right, okay.
It was basically alchemist fire.
Yeah.
They made...
but made in Scotland.
Yeah.
Well, it was made by Christie.
It was made by a Scotsman.
Yeah.
So essentially what they did was, they just chucked it over the wall and tried to blow it up from afar. The guards immediately notice him. 50 of them are chasing him down the street. Immediately on the other side of them, Solomon Kane turns up and he's like, "Where's my staff?" And then they're just so they've got a fight on their hands. They've got guards on one side, the most powerful dude in this whole game on the other side, and they are just absolutely sandwiched.
Yeah.
And midway through the fight, Belinda, James's character, is like, "Right, fuck this," and she starts legging it back towards the museum. And of course, what happens is she grabs the staff, and the all of the memories of all the terrible shit that Solomon Kane's done and all the people that he's killed just immediately envelop her. She faints because she's so incredibly scared. Nobby, Sean's character, walks in, and he tries to grab the staff as well, sees all these ghosts flying about and shit coming out the staff, and heart attack, he dies.
Yeah, he died from a heart attack. That's 2 heart attacks in this campaign we've had.
Yep, 2 heart attacks.
Them fear rolls, they will kick your ass.
Yeah. So he just died. He died on the spot, man. We did all the necessary rolls in all of this. There's like the vigor rolls and stuff like this that you need to make to not die. But he just failed all of them.
But aren't your characters having come back from the dead? So
Yes.
can they actually die from a heart attack? Are they not
Yes,
undead?
yeah, they are undead, but then if they die after that, it's like final death.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
you don't even get to go to heaven
So
or
the
hell.
heart is still working. They do still need their
Yes.
heart working. Right?
Yeah, when they've been brought back, then it's RD.
Yeah. So it's really really shitty. So Nobby's dead. So next up, Nick, you've got you've got a new product, have you not?
Yes, got a Kickstarter that was
Savage
for
Zombie
Field.
Squad.
Yeah, it came through a couple of weeks ago. Been looking forward to this one actually, because we actually interviewed the guys who wrote it on the Wild Die, which was really nice. So we've had a chat with the dudes over at Zombie Squad. It's finally fulfilled, and I've got my hands on it. Nice hardback. The artwork's fantastic. Guys, check it out. See what you think.
So I'm holding in my hands Savage Worlds Zombie Squad. On the cover, you've got a man. He's got a gun. That's the sort of stuff I like.
Yes,
In
good stuff.
space.
In space.
And there's an alien there, and he's not looking too happy.
Because the man with the gun has probably shot him.
Well, he's got a big hole in his chest, so I think he's probably been shot.
Either that or he's got a terrible illness.
Holio.
This is nice. It's a weird size though.
It's not quite. It's not quite core, and it's not quite big. It's kind of
It's
in the
just
between.
below regulation.
Yeah, it's like Suicide Squad in space.
Yeah, so as far as I remember from the interview that we did, so you play crime people, otherwise known as criminals.
Yep.
But these
Crime people is the technical term in the this is set, though, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's in space. So
Exactly, yeah.
This different language.
Space crime people.
Attack of the crime people.
So in Attack of the Crime People, Savage World Zombie Squad, you essentially are people in space that have done bad things. You're on death row, but you've been revived. Zombie. So you've they say to you, you've got to do a mission that you're probably going to die on, because we're not going to send our real men to do it because they'll die and we don't want them to die. But you are on death row, so we don't give a fuck.
But look on the bright side, you might die gloriously rather than being just executed.
Exactly.
And we like your skills.
So it's like Suicide Squad, but not shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And in space.
And in space.
Do they get if they fulfil the mission? Do they get let off, or what's the incentive?
Well, you get to live.
You carry on living.
Another day. Wow. Okay. Blimey. Yeah. Okay.
And these
While
dudes
you're on
are
it, you're not
like,
getting
I
executed,
think a
yeah.
lot of the characters are like obviously like mercenaries and things like that. So they like it. It's like, do you want to sit in a cell waiting for your death, or do you want to get out there and party?
Yeah. Fair enough.
And maybe die. And then haven't they got like
Get
things
to shoot
around? I
things,
think
yeah.
they've got some kind of like devices on them as well that if they do misbehave, they get dead.
Oh, sorry.
Owen just went out into the hallway to sneeze.
Like a fireball.
So so that's good content. If you wanted to hear a sneeze, you got it, ladies and gentlemen. I feel so sorry for the patrons, the people that pay for this. They just had to hear an actual sneeze. That's the sort of quality. Oh, and you're a professional radio man.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. But on the radio, I could just press the mute button.
Savage World Zombie Squad. Buy it. It's really good. It's got spaceships. It's got space combat. It's got zombies. It's got squads.
It's got all sorts.
It's got all sorts of shit in there.
and the
got
art's
world style
great.
Savage.
It's very good. Yes.
Sorry.
Well, it was our gaming group's 3-year anniversary. We've been together for 3 years.
Yeah, big cuddle. Yeah, it's lovely.
And so James got me a little gift for putting this group together, and he got me the Savage Worlds Action and Adventure deck. So we talked about the adventure decks before, and what these do is they're little cards that have little effects on the game. So you get dealt these at the beginning of the game, and it might be things such as Owen.
Oh, for example, catnap. Play when a character has at least half an hour of undisturbed downtime to recall a character as if she had a full night's rest. This removes all power points and removes all fatigue.
In addition to that, you get a pack of just playing cards in there, because as we know in Savage Worlds, initiative is done using playing cards.
These
And
are quite rare, aren't they?
Yes, well, they're difficult to get in this country.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick, have a look at these, mate,
Please.
because I think you will like them.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're really high qual, mate. So high quality, in fact, the cardstock is so thick that they don't fit in my fucking card boxes.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
See, now, I think the adventure deck is actually very high quality
They're
for what it is.
incredibly
However,
glossy.
being someone who uses playing cards a lot, I would say there is too much gloss and not enough air cushioning on the action deck.
And
to
that's
use
coming
them as
from
an
a
action deck
magician.
of cards, yeah.
Nerd alert.
He knows
Yeah,
his cards.
I do, yeah. I mean, I could do sleight of hand with them, but they're. Well, I suppose that's an advantage though, because they're not good for sleight of hand. They're not. No one's going to cheat with them
That's
at the
true.
table. Yeah.
Hello,
maybe,
zombie. Mummy.
Yeah,
Mummy on there.
zombie.
So we've got
Mummy alert.
on one of the aces. There's a mummy. So if there's any reason to get this deck, there it is.
That's it.
There's a mummy on the ace, but yeah.
These are very nice, actually. I'm really impressed.
They do stick together a bit though, because
Yeah.
of the lack of air cushioning.
Shut up.
You're at that pinnacle, sort your air cushioning out.
Yeah, more air cushioning.
God's sake.
Pass them over. Let me see if I can do any sleight of hand with the mail. Okay, here we go.
Oh my god, a bunch of flowers have just appeared.
That's not bad, is it? That's actually okay, yeah.
I was quite impressed. I was just done a magic trick. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on an audio format though.
Well, I think the silence speaks for itself. We just went quiet.
I can
Right, he's doing it. Owen,
Oh, right, okay, they're fine, yeah.
do you understand?
I take it all back, they work fine, sorry.
Do you understand how doing magic
On the radio is rubbish, yeah, I do, yeah.
Nevertheless, it was still quite magical, and I am quite impressed.
Yeah. Okay, you have to have the person on to describe it. It's kind of
Owen's just made a number 4 turn into a jack.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to do an announcement.
Oh.
I will be running a public game, and this is an open invitation to any
get in.
listeners. If you would like to come along to this game, 4th of May at the Marquis of Granby in Earlswood. God, that sounds pretentious, doesn't it?
Yep.
Which is a pub. I will be running a DCC tournament module, Carnival of the Damned. And this tournament will have a prize, which I haven't decided on yet, but the winner of the tournament will win a big prize, and it's the 4th of May, and this will be at 7 p.m. at the Marquis of Granby in Earlswood in England. So anybody
Is that in London, or is that...
It's round here.
Round
it
here,
sounds
so
incredibly
yeah.
posh, but it's not. It's a shabby little pub around the corner.
Lovely. Do I get to talk about what I've been slaying?
You certainly do. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. I don't mind. I'm just a human being with feelings. Besides Pantheon Towers, obviously, which you were at, I'm also playing in an East Texas University campaign run by my friend Dan Brown.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
What the writer?
No,
Da Vinci Codes
different
and-
Dan
right,
Brown.
okay.
Yeah. Because if it was run by that Dan Brown, it would be convoluted. The games the games will only last 30 seconds because the chapter's so short. And at the end, it would turn out that the whole twist is that someone had a child. Dan Brown, not the writer, running East Texas University, but set in the 90s. So no mobile phones and stuff, and set in a version of the Deadlands universe.
Ooh.
So Confederacy and Union are a thing. But yeah, it's a really good game. I'm playing a character called Tammy Lee Christie, or TLC. She's a trailer trash girl from Granville, which is actually, in our world, would be Vancouver, but in this world, the Canadians got rid of the British ages ago, so it wouldn't have been renamed.
Okay.
That's not canon Deadlands, by the way. It's a different Deadlands.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that shit later. And it's good fun. We just had an adventure where we were looking into 2 devices, a thing called the Basilisk device and the Aurora device, which are sort of stun gun advanced, basically. Knock someone out for 48 hours, but it went wrong and put some dude into a coma. So we found out about these devices. We found out the guy who put him into a coma, and we went around to have a chat. The idea was we were just going to have a chat. This is where my wife, who has never played in a game that has been DM'd by anyone but me before, decides that they're not being as nice at the door as she wanted to. They were having very bad manners. So she broke the door down, punched out the guy's girlfriend, at which point he comes down with a shotgun, and it all kicks off.
Now, I don't like your manners.
Now, my character at this point just goes, okay, I'm going out to get the car because we're going to need to get out of here really quickly. We've just broken the law. And when TLC is the voice of reason in the party, you know it's not a good situation. But they managed to get out of it just about okay. I think it went down in the end to them having a point saying, okay, we actually know what you've been up to when we've got evidence. Don't shoot us and don't get us arrested for breaking into your house, and we won't tell anyone. So that was how that kind of ended, as far as I remember. But yeah, that's a good game. I'm also playing in a D&D 5th edition campaign run by my friend Darry. We just got to a place where there's lots of dragons, and he said, all right, in this session I'm going to set you up against a dragon. And we were like, we don't want to go off against a dragon, we're just trying to get through this area. And he said, no, there's a dragon attacking. What are you going to do? So, okay, well, we're going to help and defend the city. Great, okay. And then a giant acid dragon, a black dragon, comes out of nowhere, rolls attack, one-shots one of our characters, because it's massive damage, they're dead, there's nothing they can do, evaporated.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, fighting dragons are fun, isn't it? And I said, we never wanted to fight a dragon.
Why are we doing this?
So that happened anyway. And the last thing I'm in at the moment is a game I'm running called The Toxic Sisters, which is probably the most fun thing I've ever done role playing so far. It's amazing. It is it's a Deadlands Hell on Earth campaign, but it's only female players. I've got a group of 5 ladies playing in it from all over the world on over Roll20, and it's amazing. And I've suddenly realised that the big mistake I've been making all the time when DMing and GMing is having men play, basically. Yeah. Because they're amazing.
The reason being is that Owen is he's trying to surround himself with women because he is a
woman
sex pest.
Pimp. I was
Lesbian.
gonna say, but yeah,
Yes.
Lesbian was the word I was going to go for.
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
No enough. So D&D 5th edition.
Yeah.
You mainly play Savage Worlds, don't you?
Yeah, but
You
I like
enjoying
playing other games. Yeah, I am enjoying 5th edition, and the reason I'm enjoying 5th is because they finally got round to streamlining it.
Yeah,
The one thing I
haven't
don't
played
like
D&D,
about
so I don't
the
know.
one thing I don't like about D&D is it is completely engineered to combat. I mean, every ability, everything is basically you level up, you get another thing that lets you kill things better. Basically, there's a
Really?
few things
See-
that have. I mean, the rogues and the bards have stuff that give them better skills, but a lot of it is really combat based.
And that's a bit of
And-
a turn off for me because
Exactly,
combat's
yeah,
not the biggest draw to this.
Exactly,
hobby
yeah.
for me.
Which and that's but let's be honest, D&D is the most popular role playing game out there, and part of it probably is because people like to kill things. But I prefer to play a game that's got more ways to take your character that aren't just
Fair
about
enough. I'm going to try and not play D&D for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And make it literally one of the last systems I ever
Have you played Pathfinder?
Of course.
You've basically played D&D.
And I really like
I'm just
Pathfinder.
going to tell you that right now.
That is literally D&D. I mean, Pathfinder is 100% compatible with D&D 3.5.
Yeah,
so
because it was a bunch of guys from 3.5 who said, "Yeah, we want to fix this and go off on our own."
So anyway, we're running a bit long for the old slaying segment.
That's my fault.
Right,
entirely.
well, both of you shut up. Let's go on to the main subject, which this week is going to be a bit of the old fucking LARPing, mate.
Yeah.
Tidy.
Main. Subject. Main. Subject. Sorry.
So, obviously, we are talking about LARPing, live action role playing.
Yes.
And that is why we got Owen on here today, because he is the king
of the LARP.
He's the king of the LARP.
King of the LARP.
He's the
Oh,
LARP
he's very
god. And that's why we got him on here today, because we needed an expert. I've only ever done one LARP. Nick's never really done a LARP. He's only ever done a tarp.
The tarp.
I put a tarpaulin over something
Tarp
once.
or
Yeah, that was
something,
all right.
you played a game of D&D while under a tarp.
Exactly,
yeah. Tarping.
Tabletop action role play. Owen, first of all,
Yeah.
I think in the world of role playing there is some confusion about
Yes,
what a
of
LARP
course, yeah.
actually is. So, a lot of people. Right, okay, I'm gonna say it outright. Is it a bunch of cunts walking around in a field with a bunch of cunty weapons, a bunch of cunty costumes?
Can be.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what is a LARP?
So there's lots of different kinds of LARPs, which is where the confusion comes in. There is what we would call full contact LARP and non-contact LARP.
Sounds sexy. Is it?
Not actually. Sometimes, yeah, the Vampire Masquerade LARPs can get a little bit on the sexy side, it has to be said, yeah. But less said on that, the better, probably. So the full contact LARP is people going around with foam weapons, usually in actual armour, and some serious costume game. I mean, look, full contact LARPers take costume really seriously, and you look at some of the photos, and some of that stuff is amazing.
Where do they get this
they've
shit
gone
from?
to.
Do they make it themselves?
Okay, yeah. So there's
gotta be, innit?
there obviously there's suppliers. There's an industry.
Right,
here.
okay, gotcha. Makes sense.
It's and I mean I wouldn't say there's a lot of money in it, but there is an industry there to be made, as it were, making stuff for people, and and prosthetics and makeup and stuff like that. Snazaroo, the makeup brand, is very popular with
Okay.
LARPers because it's cheap,
Yep.
and it looks pretty good for a short period of time. But there's also non-contact LARP, which usually happens inside a venue rather than out in a field. Often in a pub if it's in England,
Yeah.
because you can't afford to do it anywhere else, and pubs are free if you
Yeah,
get a call.
absolutely, yeah.
If you can find, say, hey, I'm going to bring 40 guys into your function room, and they're going to be drinking all day long and eating food. Is that all right with you? And they say, yes, you may have the function room for free. That is fine. No one ever comes here on a Sunday. Basically how that works. And the one I ran was a non-contact LARP. I've never actually played a full contact LARP, though I have several friends who do. There is a giant giant one in England right now called Empire, and it's meant to be utterly amazing because there is literally about 3,000 people there each time.
Because I think that a lot of people think that obviously LARPing is just fantasy, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
But obviously, it doesn't have to be.
No, not at all.
Doesn't have to be medieval. But loads of people think that's what it is, but it's not. It's not necessarily. I mean, for me, when I think of LARPing, I think Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a very popular
But
one.
what are the most common rule sets,
Yeah, okay.
and how do you play them? Because
So
I know when I first heard about LARPing, I heard about people hitting somebody with a sword, and every time you made contact, you went 2.
To an extent, yeah. As far as I'm aware, that's how a lot of full contact goes down. Yeah, you have to shout your damage and you have to do a lot of maths very quickly. The result is combat is quick, as opposed to non-contact LARP where combat can take hours, literally hours. Because you're essentially tabletopping in with a large group of people, and that is the main sort of difference between LARP and tabletop. Is obviously you've got a lot more people, and instead of sitting around and pretending to be characters in your mind's eye, you're actually acting out, being the character, as you were. It's so a mixture between tabletop and improv theatre, I suppose you could say.
Sounds
but
right up
without
my alley.
all the wankery that comes with improv theatre. If you've ever been to the Edinburgh Fringe, you'll know what I mean.
Unless you join a crappy LARP, in which case there might be a lot of wankery.
Oh God, yeah.
Because I did one in college and it was really rubbish.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah. So main rule sets you have there are various different kinds of combat full contact rule sets. I can't tell you what they are. I don't know what I don't know what the names of them are. But it generally comes down to you've got a weapon. You hit them, you call out what the damage was, etc. And the same for spell effects as well.
So if they're wearing armour, they might go -2.
Possibly, no, but you don't need to do it for. As far as I'm aware, you don't need to yell out how much it's being reduced by because you're doing the maths in your head as you're the one getting
Right, got ya.
I mean, the epicness of it is if you go to something like Empire, where there's 3,000 people, and you go, and there's usually about 2 big battles thing, and you've got 500 people on each side, fully aware that in 2 minutes' time you're probably dead. Or your character's dead more to the point, and you're in character for the whole weekend, so you get really pretty immersed.
See, where's the line between that and reenactment?
Well, the line between reenactment is things have to go a certain way in reenactment.
Gotcha.
It's already scripted. You're literally just reenacting a battle that happened and trying to.
Whereas this has got more chance because you bring dice.
Yeah, and
Exactly, yeah. And reenactment, they use real weapons. So actual guns if it's Civil War, and actual swords if it's medieval.
And they actually kill each other.
No. But no, I mean, you don't kill each other because it's blunted, but serious injuries happen quite often.
But if you shoot somebody with a real gunner and they're going to die, I mean,
It's a blunted real gun.
I'm going to be...
it's a blunted gun.
Otherwise known as firing blanks, Harrison. But yeah, but indoors... For
and if it's a reenactment, you're not going to use a fucking blank. They didn't use blanks in the real war, dickhead.
They use blanks, trust me.
They don't use blanks, it's a reenactment. I think I would know.
They use blanks. But
It's a reenactment, not a de-enactment.
And then, of course, at Empire, not only is it 500 people per side, but also the monster side, they've usually, for each big one, have gone to an effort to create something enormous. So you turn up and there's a battle rhino, for example.
Oh my God.
That they've made.
fucking battle, right?
It sounds ridiculous.
Run,
but look at the photos of this thing. It's incredible. You've got
honestly
10
amazing.
professional puppeteers here.
I bet it's meant to,
working the thing. It looks seriously real. And you've got guys riding on top of the thing with bows and arrows and stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But I've
mad
seen,
stuff,
And that's sort of, that would be one of the big things between, a difference as well between that and a reenactment, is that I've seen pictures of like sort of World War One and like paintings of medieval battles.
There weren't battle rhinos.
No
yeah.
rhinos.
No rhinos.
No battle
rhinos,
rhinos. No orcs.
If I was there, though, I'd get well carried away because you'd see this big, like, obviously expensive kind of piece of art puppet, and I'd just be like, it's a monster, wailing at it. Like,
you'd
calm
smash
down,
it
you'll
up.
break it.
You'd smash it up.
You're meant to. You're meant to wail on the thing, obviously, because it's been seriously, reinforced and stuff like that. Because you've got obviously, if you're on the other side fighting the battle rhino, you've got to kill that thing. Or
Someone
you're
gets
gonna
carried
die.
away,
That's
just sets it on fire.
But several, amazing.
But obviously, as you mentioned, a lot of LARPs can get quite sexual.
Sexy?
And so do any? Is there? Have you ever been? Well, have you ever seen any pictures of somebody trying to... Did they try to fuck the rhino?
No, they don't try and fuck the rhino, as far as I'm aware. No one tries to fuck the rhino, no.
Well, you can't say that with absolute certainty.
No, okay, maybe someone out there has, feedback, guys. I know there's probably a lot of my LARPer friends listening to this.
Have you tried to fuck a battle rhino?
If you're aware of anyone who has tried to fuck a battle rhino, please write into Tabletop Twats.
You just said wino. I don't know
wino.
Wino.
That's a different thing. I think a lot of us have actually role-played battle winos in the past tabletops. If you ever played a dwarf, you've probably played a battle wino. Yeah, exactly. Other systems, anyway. I was going to talk about
there's vampire.
Yes.
How do you play that?
Yeah, so the standard way that people have played World of Darkness in the past, because you don't just play Vampire the Masquerade in LARP, there's people who also play Werewolf and... what are the other ones? Wraith and Mummy.
Mage.
And
Fairy.
Mage or Mortals. Yes, Changeling. Old Changeling. Don't play that one, LARP. New Changeling works very well in a LARP. I could talk about what works well and what works badly later if you want. But yeah, the original one was called Mind's Eye Theatre, and it resulted in people playing Scissor, Paper, Stone.
Okay.
So I have a list of traits on my sheet, which is similar to a normal World of Darkness sheet where I've got 5 points of strength. Instead of that, I said I've got adjectives that describe my strength. So I am brawny, I am tough, I am strong, or whatever. And I would come up to you if we were going to have a fight and say, I am strong enough to lamp you in the face with my sword. And you would say, well, I am dexterous enough to get out of the way. And then we play Scissor, Paper, Stone.
Okay, cool.
So we'd go 1, 2, 3. We've both thrown scissors, so we've had a tie. Now, if I'd beaten you, I've won.
Okay.
If I'd lost, I've lost. But when we have a tie, we compare how many traits we have. And I have, say, 14 physical traits, and you have 12. I win.
Gotcha.
However, you might then say no, and this is where it gets long. I declare a retest on fighting because I've got the fighting skill.
Okay.
So that you've got fighting. Okay, fine. So you cross a piece of fighting off your sheet, and we go again. To speed things up, I may say, well, I've also got fighting, so I will cancel the retest with fighting. And then we go down, and there's lots of other things you can retest on, and it can take a while.
Okay.
Now, imagine that with 40 people in a room, combat is much longer than when you've got foam weapons and hitting people and stuff. Which is why you try to avoid mass combat in non-contact LARP sometimes.
So does that mean then...
It's going to happen, though. Because when you've got all 40 people in a room, someone's going to do something stupid and shit's going to go down.
Of course,
So does that mean then that say, for instance, we're playing a game of Vampire, right? I come up to you and I'm like... I go up to the Battle Rhino in a game of Vampire the Masquerade and I'm like, I'm going to
pulls his trousers down,
No, whatever. Let's say I go up to a guy and I punch him in the face, right? I lose, and I lose a physical trait.
Yes.
Let's say, for example, that physical trait is, I don't know, I can't remember what the skill's called in Vampire the Masquerade. Fighting,
yeah.
Okay, let's say, for instance...
melee is the thing it's called.
Melee, that's it. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I lose that.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I can't use it anymore?
No, well, if you've got 5 points of melee, then you can use 4 more of them.
I see.
If you lose, you also use the adjective trait that you declared.
Well, so then, what if I run out of all of them? That means my arms are just flopping about by my side.
That means you shouldn't be getting into a fight until after the session's over.
Right.
However, you can spend stuff like willpower in order to refresh traits and stuff like that, as far as I remember. Yeah.
But then that doesn't make a lot of sense because then I should still be. Oh, it just means I'm exhausted and can't
exactly.
fight.
Yeah,
okay.
You might have taken an injury or something.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
It's essentially that's fatigue, and then then if I was able to lamp you with whatever the hell I've got in my hand, say it's a giant metal leak like we were talking about earlier, I lamp you in the face with that, and it does 2 lethal damage. You then have to record that on your sheet. You've taken 2 lethal damage.
Right.
Because as you know, in World of Darkness, you have 3 types of damage. You have bashing, lethal, and aggravated,
yes.
and each of them is more deadly than the other, and hard to heal, etc. Yeah.
Nasty.
And then you've also got your superpowers on top of that. You know, if you're a werewolf, you can turn into a giant bloody great man wolf. If you're a vampire, you can go blah 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 and drink people's blood. That's the actual technical term for what that's called. Blah, 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 blah.
So for example, we were talking about subterfuge. Then, if that got lost off my sheet, that means I can't lie anymore because I've lost my confidence.
You can still do it. You just can't call the retest.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That makes sense to me. And
if you lose that, then now modern MET games, which are the New World of Darkness, so they call that Chronicle of Darkness now. I think they've changed the name of it, which is Vampire the Requiem, Mage the Awakening. I think is the new one. Changeling the Lost. They have a different system again, where they try to make it closer to the tabletop system, but still LARPable.
Okay.
Which is because in the tabletop system you roll a number of dice equal to your points.
Yeah.
In this, you would roll a single dice or draw a card from a deck of 10 cards, which is how you normally do it, and you add the points you have onto that.
To it, right? Okay.
Which is okay. It slows down combat even more, as we found out, but it can result in good stuff. And some of those games are very good to. The problem with that, like I say, is some of those games are good to LARP, some of those games are bad to LARP. Vampire the Requiem is rubbish for LARPing.
It's also not a very good tabletop game either.
I don't know. I've not played it tabletop, but yeah, Forsaken doesn't work well LARPed either. New Mage and New Changeling, brilliant.
Really good, yeah.
And Old Mage, Old Changeling, impossible to LARP.
Oh, really?
Much.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I have LARPed Old Mage actually, and it worked because the GM was basically the greatest GM in the country, a man named Jeremiah Poppenbeck.
He made it work, yeah.
He made it work, yeah.
What a name.
Jeremiah Poppenbeck.
That
He's
is
definitely made up.
And when I was running LARP, I was using Savage Worlds,
Yes.
pretty much as written, because we now have these amazing things called smartphones, which have changed everything, and you've got dice roller apps on them, so you can now just use tabletop systems just by pressing a frickin' button and it's done.
Yep.
So that sped things up immensely. And of course, Savage Worlds is just 2 dice. So it's really quick to know whether you've succeeded or failed. I wouldn't want to play, say, I don't know, maybe Call of Cthulhu LARP. I can't see that working too well with the.
No, I reckon that could work easily because
work quite well. Actually,
you only really ever roll to a D100.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, and you know what you've got to roll under. Yeah, things with a lot of maths is where it becomes.
And the thing is, Call of Cthulhu is a fantastic system because it's mainly roleplay.
Yeah, you're right. Actually.
And I think that'd be fantastic.
Call of Cthulhu could be.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about next because like I think a lot of people think that when getting into LARPing or trying to run a LARP, you need to have a LARP specific system.
No,
and people don't know where to start because they're very much into their tabletop role playing games and think that it's like, okay, well, I need to get started on this whole new hobby. No, I don't know where to start and all this. But in reality, you can just adapt your a few tabletop games and just LARP those. So
if you've played tabletop role playing, you can play non-contact LARP very easily.
Exactly,
and you can probably run it reasonably simply as well.
So
I would play in one before I tried to run one, I think. But
yes, absolutely. So with your LARPs that you've run, you use Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
So how the fuck do?
So I have a dice roller app on my phone. It is called Savage Worlds Dice Roller.
Nice.
It's really good, though the guy who made it has not updated it for the new Apple thing. So it doesn't work on iPhones right now. So bloke who made it, update it. Yeah. I know it's not your fault because Apple did this stupid thing where they made everything backwardsly compatible, no longer backwardsly compatible because Apple do that because Apple are Apple.
Yeah.
But but it's available on Android. It's fabulous. It's amazing. It does all the maths for you. You press a button, it does the thing. So when someone wants to do something, I ask them, okay. They will say to me what it is they want to do. So it could be like the game I was running was a Deadlands game. So it could be like, I want to shoot that there zombie in the head. They didn't actually use the accents. Most of them.
They don't.
No. A lot of them do, but some of them just didn't.
Subhuman scum.
Wow. It was quite amazing, considering the game was set in Dallas, how many British characters there were there. Actually,
that would annoy the hell out of me. I'm like, if you're not doing the accent, you're not playing.
Exactly. Yeah, my
character voices, people.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to run set in London, so it'll be easier for the lazy kids.
Say.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm from Texas.
In the 30s. Well, we actually did have an extremely British ninja in the game who did speak like that. Yeah.
You have dishonoured me, and now you will die.
He was a hilarious character, though, so props to him, played by an amazing guy named Martin. But yeah, so the dice roll, I will load it up now on my phone so I can show you, because it is really cool. So he would say he wanted to do that, and I said, okay, cool, what is your shooting? And he would say, I have a shooting of D8. So I would then press D8.
Yep.
Boom, and it's done it. You've rolled a 5.
Okay.
Generally, that will be enough to hit the zombie. So then we go on to rolling damage, which is also done on there, which is really simple.
And that's pretty much it. And the only other rules that you had was if your hand is in the air, that means you're essentially not in the game. And
there's various hand signals that you can use, and this is a common thing in LARP.
Yeah.
To designate certain things. So if you cross your fingers, like we know that means I'm currently out of character. Which meant that if you were confused, if you're a new LARPer or something, like, sorry, what the hell do I do here?
Yeah.
You can just ask a quick question like that. If you were out of character for a reasonable period of time, we ask you just to go to another room, please.
Okay.
We want to just take a break, go somewhere else. It should be purely in character in here. Because there is something very, very annoying, and it's happened before in LARPs I've been in and run, where you go up to someone and they're not actually role playing. It's like, what the fuck are you doing here if you're not role playing?
I say you over there. What do you want, mate?
Yeah, they're just having a chat about life, you know. And these are actual players as well.
Get out of
here! It's like, get out.
Yeah, because usually, well, as I've only been to one, but Owen, you said like the room that we were in the pub was an in-character area.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you want to get immersion and be immersed into it.
Everyone should be in character.
That's the world while you're in that room.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That was the diner, so everyone in there should be in character.
Yep.
But as Owen rightly pointed out, you know, that's for all intents and purposes a rule. If you want to just quickly ask a question, like I would say to Owen, cross my fingers and be like, Owen, what the fuck am I doing? And he'd be like, okay, yeah, you just do this, and that'd be it. And if you're, why would you put your hand up again? I forgot what it was.
There are various different things. So if you are speaking in a language that is not the common tongue of the world, so English in this case, but if you're playing in France, it would be French, for example, then you put your hand up in an L. And at the beginning you would say, in Portuguese, and then say the thing. That way you don't actually have to speak Portuguese.
Okay, yeah.
Or, you know, if you're playing a fantasy game, it may be in Orcish, I say, blah, 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 blah. And then if you're holding up this, he said on the radio, if you're holding up an L shape with your hand, and someone is nearby who doesn't speak that language, they have to pretend they can't understand what you're saying, essentially, basically.
And there's other sort of spell effects as well. For example, somebody put their hand with a thumb to their head and then their little finger extended.
So you make a sort of rock-on symbol, and then you do it. You use it to give yourself a dickhead, basically, yeah.
and then point at somebody, and that means you're mind reading.
That's telepathy thing, yeah.
Of course, basically, as to.
But yeah, and the hand in the air one, I believe, was in combat.
Yes.
The thing there was because we were using Savage Worlds and we were using cards for initiative, which works great until you've got too many players, at which point you have to add more decks of cards.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'd hand them out to everyone, and they would put their hand in the air for how many cards they should be getting, because some people have level-headed.
Right, yeah.
Level heads, they would put 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
Or in Dan Brown's case, the min-max he get, he put his hand. He got 4 cards.
Yeah.
There's a martial art. This was in the Hell on Earth one shot I was running that Harrison was at, because there is a thing where you can get 4 cards if you have improved level-headed and a particular martial art.
Oh, blimey.
It's pretty broken.
One of the things I wanted to talk about next was that a lot of people think that LARPs are shit.
Yeah.
Right, a lot of tabletop role players think that LARPs are shite, and me included. Right, I did once.
Yeah.
Now, because I played one in college that was terrible. I only stayed for about an hour because it was the most abysmal, shocking thing.
Yeah.
And then I played your one, and I had a really good time. But why do people think they're shit?
Right. Well, there's several reasons. One of them is sometimes they're shit.
Yes.
That's why, like everything, sometimes they are proper shit. And you
like
will go to
tabletop
LARPs
games, though. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Some tabletop games were shit. You know, that's though for that. And then people have often had bad experiences as well going to LARPs. Vampire is an absolute, classic in terms of bad experiences, because it often can be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the problem is the setting to a large extent lends itself to that, because vampires are keeping everything to their chest, cold motherfuckers, and political, and it's all backstabbing and all that kind of stuff. So when some new guy rocks up and wants to get involved, it's like, no, go away. We're not going to talk to you. We're not going to talk to you. No. And it becomes very cliquey.
Right.
And there is, this is sort of taking non-contact LARP into 2 more groups again. Now you have, particularly with stuff like World of Darkness, you have troop games, which is there's 40 of us and this is it. And then you have national games and international games, where literally there is a network of games all over the world, all interspersed with each other.
Whoa.
Which, in theory, is really cool. I mean, I love the idea that, I can be my vampire is based in London, but hey, I was a professional busker. I travel to Canada every year. I could go and play that character in a game in Canada.
That's pretty cool.
Wicked.
Yeah.
That's cool. However, when you've got that, you have an unbelievable level of bureaucracy.
Oh, God.
See, now, in a game that I'm running, a troop LARP, if someone wants to say, yeah, I just want to go nuts and burn down this freaking building and stuff like that. I mean,
Yep.
if they were just doing it for meta's sake, I'd tell them to sod off, obviously. But if they were actually doing it
Yeah.
in character, great, you can do that straight away, and it happens. In a national or international level game, it's got to be signed off by
It's got
several
to go
levels
to a
before.
board.
Essentially,
Oh
yeah,
my
because
God.
someone's got to approve it, and then someone else has to approve it, and the bigger impact in the thing you do, the more people have to approve it
Oh,
before it can be done.
Jesus.
So it can be
Fuck
slow that way. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
A load of pompous people sitting around the room going, there's a young man in London that would like to steal a bone. What do you think about that, chaps? Oh, no. Has he filled out 575?
It's not quite like it's not quite that high, but yeah, it's yeah, exactly. And so that can get annoying. And I didn't like
get
that.
annoying.
And also, the way that characters in those national level LARPs come in on different levels of XP is they say that the longer you've been playing with us, the more we trust you. So the higher XP you can build your character at. So you've got people coming in for the first time, never played before, and you've got 50 XP to build your character. You think, oh, 50 XP to build my character, that's loads! And then you rock in and there's guys literally running around on several thousand. And like,
Godly type gentleman.
exactly. So
yeah.
you come in and you say, "Hi, I'm this new guy," and that person just says, "Yeah, dominate. You're my bitch now."
Oh,
Boom,
no.
and it's done. You know. And sometimes it can feel like you're just at the world's most awkward cocktail party,
I bet,
but there's
yeah.
no alcohol. So,
what?
yeah, exactly. Well, it depends where you're at. If it's in a pub, there'll be alcohol, but
Yeah.
then also, I mean, generally. I mean, if you actually look into one of the old MET rule books, it actually says one of the main rules is you should not drink alcohol while you are LARPing. You should not, and you should not do drugs. Generally, in England, we're a bit more lax on that because we're England. But
Yeah.
generally, if you're going to a place where it's not a pub, they will have there won't be alcohol there, and it's generally considered really bad form to get pissed at a LARP because mostly because of the immersion. And also, I mean, you've probably played a tabletop where some guys had one too many.
Me.
And it becomes... well, I mean, if you're the guy, then there's not much I can say. Yeah,
I'm joking. I
But, you
normally-
can
I
see
normally
where
drive,
one guy's
so.
had one too many and everything kind of breaks down.
World of Darkness is a horror setting, so if somebody gets royally pissed and starts chandering on people,
Yeah, it's good immersion. It's good immersion.
You'd be surprised. Yeah, but then vampires can't actually drink alcohol, so...
I don't drink. I drive often to our games,
Yeah,
but I do
yeah.
like one beer to just to get the creative juices flowing.
And also in a tabletop, you know everyone.
Yeah, true.
You know, you've got that level, and this is where it comes to where people may misinterpret LARP as being shit. You know, there's reasons why people have these ideas. They've heard a bad story from someone, possibly.
That's what it is. I don't think
and you've got,
LARPing
or you go
shit.
to a contact LARP, and sometimes those can be freaking weird if you've never done that kind of stuff before.
Bit overwhelming.
It is
Yeah,
overwhelming,
I can
and
imagine.
they're not all 3,000 people. Some of them can be
Sure.
quite a lot smaller, and when you look at it, if you've not done it before, and you see guys who've, let's be honest, not got a very good costume game going on, you think, okay, there's a guy. I mean, I think Eric Lamoureux was saying that he get him up against a guy who was playing a turtle person, and he had a paddling pool on his back, and it's like, you could think this looks really sad and really stupid.
yeah, I
and it
think
can
that's-
look stupid on the outside, absolutely.
That's one of the big problems with it. I think is that people find it cringy.
Exactly, yeah, they find
that's-
that cringy.
But then
And-
I know people that find tabletop role playing
Cringy,
cringy.
yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas it's almost like there's a hierarchy of cringiness.
Totally, yeah.
And that's what it is that people look at what nerds do and find it cringy. But then the thing is when
It seems nerdier than nerdiness. as well, yeah.
exactly and when obviously I'd only done one really shit LARP that I only stayed at for an hour before I'd done your one.
Yeah.
And like my wife was saying things like, "Oh, what, you gonna dress up in a costume and like walk around talking like a ponce?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
Totally, I'm going to do that.
Totally.
But then my point is that like when it comes down to it, like if I'm going to try it, I'm going to try it properly.
All the way,
do you know what I mean?
exactly,
And what I found was that there was a great level of immersion with it, and being in character constantly, I did find it hard at first. And if I'm being honest, I was cringing at myself a little bit.
Yeah,
but the point is
absolutely.
that once I got into it and just let go, I was like, actually, this is really
amazing,
fucking
yeah.
fun.
I mean, cosplay is becoming a lot more mainstream now to a weird
Yeah.
extent as well. So costume itself is becoming less cringy. But also, I mean, one of the things I think that makes LARP, that gives that impression is, let's face it, us gamers aren't the most social people at the best of times sometimes, you know. Managing to get 6 people around, actually interacting with 6 other people at a table is pretty good going for some of us.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and so when you then say, I'm going to be in a room full of, 40 people or in a field full of 3,000, it's like, oh, Jesus, no, I don't want to do that. You know, people I don't know. You know, that's the advantage we have in tabletop, generally, is we're playing with people we know. You know, it's not a con game or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas at a LARP, if you're joining it and you're not going there with a lot of mates...
You could be a bit. I mean, I would argue that this whole hobby, LARPing, tabletop, everything, looking at from an outsider, you could class it as a bit cringy.
Yeah.
You go past that, sit down, and actually, like my first ever game. I was cringing to hell because I was just nervous because it's something I've never tried before, and now it's like get involved, have one session. Live the character. Before you know it, you're immersed. You're loving it, and it doesn't matter what it is.
There are also other things that can make LARPs, shit. You get bad apples.
Yeah,
you get people who turn up who mess everything up. And there's stereotypes that we talk about. The big game hunter. The big game hunter is the guy who has min-maxed his character to ridiculous.
The guy who wants to win an RPG.
Exactly.
So how do you win an RPG?
He's not just min-maxed his character, but his purpose is to find the hardest, most immersed player there and make him cry by killing his character.
Yeah. And that's just bullying.
Exactly, yeah. And then you get guys who don't get it or are trying to play a different game in the game you're playing and so on.
Yeah.
This guy, Jeremiah Poppenbeck, or Jez, he likes speaking about, he ran a LARP that I was in for his first LARP I played, amazing LARP. Very much, I consider him to be my mentor. When I was talking to him about running a LARP, he said, you've got to be careful with the way you run rules. You've got to have blanket things. You've got to ban stuff that you wouldn't ban normally and so on. Because with tabletop, you've got a bunch of people who know each other quite well.
Yep.
You're winging a story together. In LARP, you're going to get fucktard, was his word.
Yeah.
Some dickhead's going to turn up and do something stupid.
They're here to mess things up. Yeah,
I had to ban 3 players from my game after the first session because they were literally just trying to kill people.
Toxic players,
They were
mate.
just trying to kill. They were trying to kill players, and they were cheating as well. They were looking at other people's sheets.
What?
They were, and they actually told me. While I was there, I've seen that guy's sheet. This is how we're going to.
You've
kill
got to be
this
pretty
guy.
sad if you're cheating at a LARP, isn't
Is
you?
that really you do? Yeah, you really do. But that was that. So they don't play anymore.
Screw those guys.
Yeah.
I think we've got a lot of really great advice there, and hopefully that gives you sort of like some insight into what LARPing is, how to fuck a big rhino. All of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, that's the main point. If you take one thing away today,
Take that.
Exactly. But you organised a gigantic Deadlands LARP that lasted 3 years, and it ended in tears. No, I'm just kidding.
A couple of people did cry actually at the very end. I put on
because they wasted 3 years
of their life. I put together a very.
Like, is this how it ends? Is this what a waste of time?
Not like this.
At the very end of it, I made a sort of speech about it all, and then I played a video I'd made, which sort of had an entire cast list on it with not just the players but every NPC. Because one of the ways I GM is any wildcard NPC is played by an actor. So I always say this character is played by them because you instantly know. And I want my games generally. It depends what I'm playing, what I'm running, but in terms of Savage Worlds, usually I want it to feel like it's a gigantic HBO TV series with an unlimited budget and you're the stars type thing.
Perfect.
So there was all that playing plus videos of the game itself and so on. It was kind of emotional. There was emotional songs. So a couple of them were crying, but the last it ended actually with an entire weekend event where we booked out a scout hut and we were playing for 2 days straight. It was pretty mental.
What, in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. We at the very last battle where they went up against the big bads of Deadlands. I won't say what they are for spoilers. We turned the entire scout hut into a battle mat. We put masking tape down on the floor because normally when you're doing full combat in or the way I'd normally run it when we're doing combat in the live sections as it were, as opposed to cutting into tabletop or anything, in the Savage Worlds LARP, people, I would say, one pace is one step as it were. But for this, we made an actual battle mat on the floor so people could stand on squares, etc. And that was
very
a lot of fun. But it was 3 years long. It should have been 2. Is the lesson I learned. We were running out of ideas badly by the end of 3, and it was kind of losing
and everyone
energy.
was like really overpowered, weren't they?
Of course you are.
What was the regularity of it? We're talking once a week?
Once a month. The way we did it was we also had scenes in between the main events, as it were. And the other reason I would have done 2 instead of 3 is because by 3 those scenes were taking over.
Right.
And the LARPs were becoming people getting together and working out what they were going to do on the next scenes and so on. And
right,
that's
yeah.
one of the reasons why the in-character thing broke down a bit. And it should be about
Kinda
those
took
big...
it away from
should
the
all be
main
about
thing.
those big sessions, not
Gotcha.
the
So you
not
were
the small
saying that
ones,
the mid scenes, those were tabletop, right?
Yeah, usually they were tabletop. Yeah, they were, at the beginning they were around my house, but then I moved to Paris for 2 years, and so we did them on Roll20 after that, and that worked quite well.
See, I would like that, a mixture of the two. So,
Yeah.
so you've got like big events monthly where you get out and actually do your LARPing, and then in between you've got the
Well,
a
it's
game
like
when you sit around the table.
it's
That's
like
quite
4
interesting.
people want to do something because normally for in between, and this is a standard thing in LARPs. Between the events, you have what we call downtime, and that's normally you write down this is what my character is doing in that month.
Sure.
And then you get a response to this is what happened as a result of that. But sometimes it's like you and 4 other guys want to go and investigate this thing, and I'm like, okay, we can't just do this written because there's bad things there and you may die.
So we need
so
to
we're
play
going
it
to need
out.
to tabletop
Yeah,
play
you've got
this
to do
thing
some
out.
rolls.
Yeah,
Makes
exactly.
sense, yeah.
So yeah, well, we'll wrap this up then. Give one bit of advice for anyone that wants to get into LARPing, and you've only got 3 words.
Just do it.
Okay, so just do it. That is Owen. He works for Nike, and so with that, we're gonna move the fuck on.
We're going to go
and-
hit each other with some sticks.
Yeah, we certainly are.
Yeah.
Run about in the field like a bunch of cunts.
Lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
In a land far beyond your imagining, adventure waits. And down beneath you will find things that you never dreamed of seeing. Goblins, orcs, treasures, mountains of gold. Will you be brave enough to delve deep and beat the final boss of the dungeon? This is Adventure Calls, available for $49.99.99. Available at all good retailers.
We know that prank calls are puerile,
Childish.
childish,
Pathetic.
but I done one.
Yay.
So, as you guys may know, we've been playing Solomon Kane, right? And,
Oh Jesus! Already, I like where this is going. Yeah.
and in that game, one of the characters is Balthazar, right? And he is a witch hunter. Well, he's an undead hunter. He's a hunter of all things beast.
Yep.
Right. And sometimes he's got to do a bit of calling around.
Obviously.
So I've done a few prank calls as Balthazar, the
This
beast.
can only end well.
So excited, but this is actually my character.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Welcome to International Security and Protection. Please hold while you are being transferred.
Hello, Guardian, Scott speaking.
Hello, do you offer close protection?
Yeah, that's correct. Are you in London?
Yes, I am in London currently. I'm currently, well, my name is Balthazar, and since coming to London, I've seen many things, many bad things, and I require protection from them. You see, I'm a skilled beast hunter, but one man alone does not a beast hunter make, and as a result, I need to get a team together. A team to fight the beasts of the night. You see, I've seen vampires, werewolves, mummies. Do you offer protection against these things?
Yeah, why not?
Good. What do you charge for such a service, my man? I will pay a high price. Because when
23.
23 gold.
23 gold. Wait a minute. Charlotte, have you heard this lately?
Yes, get your friend on. We're gonna need a big team for this.
Hello?
Hello. Okay, listen up.
Hi, I can...
Here's the job. We're gonna need a security team. The reason being is I've been attacked nightly by werewolves and vampires. So, if you were faced by a vampire, its claws and fangs coming at you fast, what would you do, sir? Would you punch it in the face, stake it in the heart, or would you run like a sissy little queen?
I think I'd have a serious game of rock, paper, scissors. Winner takes all.
So you would use mind tricks against the vampire. I like it. You're in. What's your name?
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. I've heard about your work. My God. Well, you're definitely in. I'll pay 24 gold for your services and no less. Do you accept?
Very much, yeah. We accept favours.
Favors? I was not aware it was that kind of... you're making me feel ill. You know what? I'll hire somebody else.
Oh, I don't blame you, to be honest with you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Using someone else's pizza, more second out.
Hello, is this Domino's Pizza?
Domino's Pizza, Tasha speaking. How can I help?
Hello, Tasha. Is this Domino's Pizza?
Yes, this is definitely Domino's Pizza.
Okay, listen. I've got no easy way to say this, but I'm a vampire hunter. I hunt the undead, the creatures of the night, and I've been investigating your store.
Okay.
And you're in grave danger. Your manager is a werewolf.
Okay.
Yes, and he in the next full moon, he will bite you. He will bite your leg. And he will bite you. He will bite your leg. And you
What?
your leg.
My what?
Your leg.
Hair?
Leg.
Hair?
Leg.
Sorry, if you say it again.
Leg.
Peg?
Leg.
Peg?
Leg.
My what?
Look, it doesn't matter. He will bite you somewhere.
Who will?
The manager.
Who?
The manager.
I'm the manager.
Okay, you're a werewolf. Surprise.
Who's the werewolf?
You.
Me?
And I'm gonna get you. Okay?
What?
You've been rumbled, okay, werewolf?
What?
You're a werewolf.
What's a werewolf?
You.
Me?
You are of low intelligence, okay, werewolf?
A toad?
You're a... Okay. I think we might have a bad line.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm going to... You are not long for this earth, werewolf.
Do you say you can't draw a straight line?
You're really infuriating me, okay?
What?
You are infuriating me.
You're on fire?
No! Are you winding me up on purpose?
Am I winding what?
Are you winding me up on purpose?
Have you got a wind-up toy, did you say?
Hello?
Hello?
Look. I'll just take a pepperoni pizza.
Sorry, we don't sell pizza here.
She's obviously been on the How to Deal with Prank Calls course.
Yeah, that was, she played you there.
Oh,
mate.
mate.
She got me.
The thing that really got me was on the first one there when you asked him how he was going to defeat a werewolf. He said he was going to play rock paper scissors.
That's brilliant.
So he's clearly played World of Darkness.
Of course, he's a LARPer, isn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He must know. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
There's nothing better than a good sport in a prank phone call.
Well,
That's why your adventure calls are actually good to listen to, because you almost. I suppose you probably get ones you don't play along.
Oh, yeah.
I don't play those, but you play the ones where they always play along, which makes it not awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, it usually takes me a very long time.
Yeah, we have to do a few. Yeah.
But that security company, I mean, who you're going to want a big dude from a security company, that like a bodyguard in a LARP.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, don't hire those people, because if you come up against people that are going to attack you, and he's just going to play rock paper,
Pulls
scissors.
finger scissors out.
I'm using the scissors.
Step back.
We need to compare traits.
I have a rock fist.
Right, next up, we have got the Chamber of Challenges.
Yes.
Welcome to the Chamber of Challenges. Chamber of Challenges. The Chamber of Challenges. Chamber of Challenges. The Chamber of Challenges.
Okay, so this is the Chamber of Challenges, where we do deadly challenges for one another, and they're always deadly. But Owen, you've got one for us, have you not?
I have a version of Dragon or Blagon for you.
Oh, yeah,
Around LARPing. I've called this Having a LARP or Having a Laugh.
It's
Very good.
So, explain your challenge.
So I've got 4 questions here, all multiple choice answers as usual, and you've got to work out what is the real thing, or what is the not real thing in some cases.
Okay, and this is all questions based around LARP.
LARPing, but all based around LARPing, yeah. So firstly, I have vampire LARPs that I have played in. I'm going to write some titles of some vampire LARPs I've played in. One of these is not real. We have to work out which is the real one. So, Zeitgeist, City of Tearless Flowers, Camarilla Invictus, The Court of Blood, or Requiem Essex.
Fuck. What was the second one?
City of Tearless Flowers.
Requiem Essex.
It's got to be Requiem Essex.
No!
What? Oh my god.
And I'll explain why. Because they're, remember I was talking about national level LARPs?
Yeah.
And they don't have fancy names then. It's just, this is the Essex game of Vampire the Requiem. So the name of it was Requiem Essex. And I visited that a couple of times.
Oh, mate, I'm a fucking
You can't. I'm drinking Lamborghini. Where's my fake tan?
So yeah, Court of Blood was the was the fake one there. City of Tears, Thousands of Vancouver LARP.
It's such a believable.
Exactly. Yeah. So I went for it. Yep. So the next, we talked about rules for LARPing before and the different rule sets people use. There are colloquial names given to some of these rule sets. Like instead of calling it, full contact, I might call it something else, for example. So I've got 5 colloquial names given to different LARPing rule sets.
Okay.
One of these is wrong. Okay.
Okay.
So we've got Hitty Sticks, Shout Man, Boffers, Shaky Fist, and Freeform Blag.
One of them's real.
One of them is not real.
What?
Oh, God.
These are things that people use to describe this kind of rule set.
Boys, we'll be using Hitty Sticks today.
I'm upset that most of those are real.
Yeah, that's the
Can you
saddest
tell me?
thing.
Can you read them out again, please?
Yeah.
Hitty Sticks, Shout Man, Boffers, Shaky Fist, and Freeform Blag.
You know what?
I think Boffers is the
Yeah,
incorrect
I think Boffers is the not real one because knowing you, it sounds like the sort of thing you would make up.
Yeah.
Boffers.
You're incorrect.
What does Boffers mean?
So,
Right. Do you fancy a game of Boffers?
yeah. So,
Is this like some fucking like Oxford, Cambridge?
actually, that's what they call it in America and Canada.
What?
That's a colloquial term used to refer to full contact LARP because you boff people.
Oh, but that doesn't sound American.
Right, guys, we're playing Boffers today.
In Britain, we tend to use Hitty Sticks to describe that.
Hitty Sticks, yeah.
Shaky Fist, obviously, is Scissor Paper Stone.
Right.
Stone.
Oh, it's just a lot of angry people.
Freeform Blag is actually a kind of LARP where there are no rules, where you just sort of are making it up as you go along.
I
So
like
it's kind
that.
of like Fiasco LARP, basically.
Yeah, cool.
Kind of breaks down after a while. Shout Man is bullshit. I just made that up. Yeah.
Shout
Man.
No, but we can make that. We can make that.
If you shout the loudest, you get to win or whatever. I don't know.
You would win.
That's a thing for game design guys. Next time, you have to work out a rule system called Shout Man. Yeah.
Okay, done.
So in traditional mind's eye theatre, they use scissor paper stone, but powerful supernaturals can throw something different that's not scissor paper or stone, which is slightly better. It's one of these 5. Okay.
Okay.
So is it gun, fire, Spock, bomb, or tiger spooge?
He's just done a wanking symbol with his hand.
And with a climax at the end.
Tiger spooge.
It's obviously going to be fire, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be fire.
It's bomb.
Wait, in what game is this?
In original Mind's Eye Theatre, yeah. So you have scissor, paper, stone, and some people who've got high potence, you can throw the bomb, or high celerity can throw the bomb, and that beats paper and rock, but loses to scissors because you cut the thing.
Is this like set in the 90s?
Whoa.
It was, right?
Hey, I'm
actually
throwing
would've
down
gone
the
with me.
bomb.
Okay, finally, not quite so ridiculous, but these are LARPs that are currently going on in the United Kingdom. One of these isn't real. Empire, Curious Pastimes, The Never Tree, Oxford After Midnight, and Wasteland. One of them is not real.
We have them again, please.
Yeah. Empire, Curious Pastimes, The Never Tree, Oxford After Midnight, Wasteland.
I reckon that he would have done like a pretty innocuous one, right? See, Oxford After Midnight sounds pretty stupid.
That's the one I was thinking.
But I reckon it's The Never Tree.
That's my second one. Yeah, let's go Never Tree.
You are correct.
Hey, we got one.
We got one.
Oxford After Midnight is a Rippers LARP run by one of your listeners.
Who run that?
His name is Connor Warden.
Hello, Connor. Shout out. Big shout out to him.
Big C.
Oh, shit, yeah, we were going to go to it once.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a very good challenge, Owen.
No
well
problems.
done. But shut up now, because
Okay.
Nick, you've got one, right?
Oh, get in.
Here we go. Right.
What are we doing, Nick?
Okay, so we've done this before and it was ridiculous, so I thought we'd do it again. This is this kind of charade. Was it like noise charade?
Oh, God, yes. This is my favourite one.
So this is RPG noise charades.
Noise charades, yeah. So I'm going to act something out. It could be a game, it could be an object, it could be anything, and you guys got to try and figure out what it is from me mouth. Okay, so let's start. So the first one is.
So this is a healing potion.
That's a healing potion, yeah. Okay, right, healing potion, right, okay.
Right, we're starting off with an easy one then.
Start off with an easy one. Okay, next one is.
So that is a dwarf getting shot by a crossbow.
There's a dwarf shooting a crossbow.
Crossbow.
Well done. 2 out of 12. Yeah, 1.5 out of 2. Okay, next one.
Meow.
Call of cat food.
Next one is.
Do that one again. The noise at the beginning. What's that?
I know. Is it Harry Potter and the tabletop role playing game? No. Okay.
Wait, one more time. Oh, it's spell casting. Just magic missile.
Magic missile.
Done.
Oh, magic
well
missile.
done.
Sorry, yeah.
Well done. And the last one.
Again.
It's a mimic.
Yeah.
Oh
well
my
done.
God!
Very well done. That's it.
Brilliant. Well, that was the shortest challenge ever.
Fun though.
That was amazing.
I don't think anything beats your original Call of Cthulhu thing. Oh, that was
That
amazing.
was my favourite. Yeah, I was a bit stuck on that one because I was like, oh,
You know what I really liked was the way that you got by doing talking, and you just like.
Yeah, I just thought I'd do. I thought if I do like sim voices, it would a bit kind of.
It's like the Sims.
Yeah.
So that was Chamber of Challenges, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't. But next up, we're going to move on to the electro letters. Woo!
Right, get out of our chamber.
In the future, you will be able to send a letter from anywhere on the planet. This is the future. This is the electro letter.
So this is the electro letters where we read your mail from around the world.
Yeah.
And
you won't be getting a long email from me this time because I'm here.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm actually there. Yeah, thank God.
Exactly. But this time we asked for your LARPing experiences, good or bad, weird or horny. And any questions regarding LARPs as well as general questions. So here we go. First up, we got one from Brennan McHugh. He says, I had a friend try to recruit me to a Vampire the Masquerade LARP. I went to one session and it seemed to be just one big dark puddle of gothy angst and teenage hormones. Only it was grown adults, no real perceived leader, and a bunch of games of rock, paper, scissors to see who got to suck on the next neck. It was uncomfortable. Denny's afterwards wasn't much better. I think I saw an orgy try to start in a booth in the back corner. Not kink shaming, just not something one expects to see in a restaurant while attempting to awkwardly enjoy stale coffee.
So yeah, like we were saying, bad LARP experiences, they happen. Yep.
Yeah, I mean...
And they often happen around Vampire because it can be awkward.
Because, that funnily enough, the one in college that I did, the only reason I went was because my mate said... we should go to this LARP. I want to pick up hot vampire chicks.
Is it a bit of an edgy goth bag magnet vampire then?
Yeah,
it can be.
And it also can tend to attract drama queens.
Oh, of course,
if that makes
yeah,
sense.
it goes without saying.
One of the reasons why I called my LARP a comedy horror LARP was because I wanted to avoid getting too much drama.
Oh my god, yeah! If I was running a game and a load of like people that took it really seriously and their self seriously turn up, I'd just be like, I'm shutting this game down. So Eric No Sleeves McGee Lamoureux says, sorry I have such a poor opinion of LARPs, but I've had 2 experiences with it and they both sucked. No rock, paper, scissors needed. On top of that, everyone I know who has done it didn't have one single nice thing to say about it. So maybe one question here, since it's my understanding Owen Lean will be part of this show. How comes LARPs have such a bad rep in tabletop RPG circles?
I think we've gone through all that, haven't we?
Well, yeah, please see main subject.
Well, yeah, I think we have, but I think in addition to that, I think that we've said quite a few nice things about it today. So I'm hoping that today we've dispelled some of the myths about LARPs being just
LARP seems
shit.
fun. It's just like you said, the ingredients, i.e., the people, can fuck it up.
You want. I mean, and when you've got a lot more people, obviously there's more chance of that. But you need to go into it with the right attitude. And if it's a closed LARP, you want to go in with character ties. That's the thing. Your character don't just come in being some person who doesn't know anyone. Even if you don't know the people there, get in touch with them beforehand. Find ties to them, so your character is related to someone in some way or another. Then you're already part of the story when you come in. In fact, actually, come over here to England
and say that
French Canadian doik and come play a game with us.
Yeah,
it'd be amazing. Yeah.
Next up, we got one from Carlin Kendrick. He says, "Why do LARPs seem to be popular with swingers, polyamorous couples, and people in kink communities. Vampire, that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I warn players against, to be honest, is in character relationships.
Vampire STDs.
Vampire STDs. You got to watch out for them, man. Vampire AIDS, that'll fuck you right up. But no. When you are playing a character, you can often want to. I mean, a lot of people do kind of emotional roleplay or erotic role play over the internet and stuff like that. And when you're playing a character full immersion, you may want to get involved with them, with your character to get involved with another character. However, bleed is a word we use for when things from the real world bleed into the real, and vice versa. It can result in bad things. I got into an in-character relationship with someone in my first LARP, and it resulted in me nearly crashing my car into a wall. I got so pissed off at one point.
Wow.
I was driving down the motorway, and I was just things had broken apart between the characters, and I was so sort of raised just thinking about, I can't believe I did this thing. I can't believe I did that thing.
My imaginary girlfriend.
Basically, yeah. And I'm driving down a motorway thinking about this, and I suddenly realised, fuck the cars! Everyone stop! Swerve off the road. I was fine, but at that point I realised I need to stop LARPing for a while.
Yeah.
And then the next LARP I played was in Canada, where I was only there for 6 weeks. And as a result, I played this character knowing I've only got 6 weeks. Doesn't matter what the hell happens to me. And that was one of the reasons I realised how to a better way to LARP is to don't give a shit what happens to your character.
That's it.
I mean, get involved, enjoy your character and so on, but relax, chill out,
totally.
know. And I've
don't fall in love with fake vampires.
Don't do that. But it as a result, particularly games like World of Darkness can attract that kind of player, and you can get GMs, watch out for that, because a bad rift that happens between two people in a in-character relationship can split a game apart.
Okay, next question's in from Terry Handsome, and he says, in a World of Darkness LARP, I was playing a Malkavian that I wanted to make as creepy as possible. I had long hair at the time, and I made it look like I had a comb over. I used tons of gel so my hair had a greasy look. I would always run my hand over my hair, so my hand was always just a bit sticky and wet. I insisted on shaking everybody's hand when interacting with them. This character ended up selling his soul to a demon in the middle of an important meeting the prince was conducting. The storyteller was whispering to me, tempting me to sell my soul. My character got mad at the demon, and I slammed my hand on the table and yelled for it to leave me alone. I scared the shit out of the whole group. I just apologised and went back to mumbling to myself. The character was killed by the prince. It was so worth it. I cause so much hell.
That sounds like a creepy as fuck character.
Yeah, but well done, sir.
Yeah.
Well done, sir. I mean, why did the prince kill him for shouting, "Stop talking to me"? He's a Malkavian. He's mental, know.
Greasy hair.
Well, as far as if I recall correctly, I seem to remember Terry mentioning that character also wore a bathrobe all the time.
And if the prince don't find out he'd gone infernal and actually allied with a demon, anyone will kill you for that. Yeah. Even the Sabbat will you sell yourself to a demon. No, you're out, mate. Done.
Yeah, that is actually genuinely horrible, though. Walking around with a sticky hand.
I think you might be going a bit too far there, baby. But yeah.
John Samuel, a friend of mine, he said, when I was first invited to Call of Cthulhu, the only recognisable term was RPG, so I assumed we were LARPing. Yeah, so he thought he's one of the first things he asked was, do I need to buy a costume?
Bless him.
But he's not the first person I've heard say that. Another person is Luke Green, who was a complete noob to role-playing games. Recently, he came along to a Stranger Things RPG that I did, and before he turned up, he asked if we had to dress up, and I was like, why do people think that?
No, that question was, can I dress up?
Yeah, he wanted to dress up as a child.
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, a lot of people who haven't done this before have played those murder mystery parties. You have those murder mystery parties, and you dress up for those.
So maybe they think it's similar.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So maybe they think that. So yeah.
Fair, why not though? Do you know what I mean? If you're playing a cowboy and you've got a cowboy hat, bring it. Brings more fun to the game.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah.
My friend Harry, who I've told you about, who was playing Kilroy at that LARP, was often put his costume on to play tabletop, even when we were playing online. He would put his costume on before.
We brought a gun to the table a few times.
My fucking wife, man. One of the things when we went to Harry Potter World, I was about to buy a Slytherin robe, right? just because, and I wanted to wear it for GMing, right? And she convinced me not to buy it. Right, and I was literally this close, and she was like, "Oh no, don't get one, don't get a robe." And then I was like, "Why? They're fucking awesome." And then just as we were leaving, she was like, I'll make you one, put it back, because she sews, right?
Yeah, fair.
And then just as we were leaving the car park, she goes, "I will never ever make that. You're not wearing a robe. They're ridiculous." And I looked.
She fooled you.
She fooled me so that I wouldn't wear a robe.
That's genuinely cruel.
Yeah. I'm livid.
Here I am making a non-robe on my machine, and she was just like doing air.
Millie, you are evil.
Yeah, Millie.
Yeah.
So now you DM in a dressing gown.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we got some general questions next.
Cool.
Eric Lamoureux comes in with one. He says, one genre that is underrepresented in Savage Worlds is urban fantasy. Do you think Solomon Kane would make a great modern urban fantasy campaign?
Yeah.
Not a good one, but a great one.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it'd be very easy to adapt. I mean, if you take take the monsters from the book and just put them in modern.
Yeah.
Easy.
I think of a great urban fantasy for Savage Worlds, actually. It's called Pantheon Towers, Eric.
I knew you were going to say that.
You publish games, don't you, Eric?
Check it out.
Do you want to have a chat about that? Yeah.
Wait, this is
but
a platform, right?
The funny thing is, Owen, earlier on when you called him a French-Canadian doofus or whatever you called him, I think you burned that bridge.
I think I might have, yeah. Shit.
Live action role playing.
Watch your Thunderbolt. 3,000 in a critical. Dark out critical. Thunder! Thy art slain.
Okay, next one's from Matt Stark, and he says, "What is about Tales from the Loop that you like the most? I'd like to hear a live session of you guys playing it."
Yeah, we totally need to do that.
Yeah.
The thing, it's so hard to pinpoint what I like about Tales from the Loop the most. The reason that I like it the most is so many bloody reasons. It's the setting is fantastic, but the one thing I like the most about it, I think, is its ease to GM. I think. Cool. Very, very low prep game. GM never rolls anything, and you...
Oh, that's nice.
Exactly. And
very nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Nobody dies.
Sort of a happy... The idea of that feels like going into a relaxing bath.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just
right, and with the players, all they do when they roll something is they add up the attribute and the appropriate skill, roll that amount of dice. To succeed, you in most cases, you need 1/6. That's
1/6, yeah.
And so the story just unfolds like that, and whenever something happens, all it is you introduce a threat or something like that, and you say, okay, it's not the bloke hits you. You say the bloke's about to hit you. What do you do? And if they don't succeed, well, then they get hit. And then they take a condition. And for me, that it's boiling it down very, very simply
beautiful,
there. But that is like that's what's so good about it. It's so easy to remember how to play, and I can bust out at a moment's notice and play it. I mean, I played it at Peat Meat recently, and just I had short notice because somebody pulled out, and I was just like, I've got this game ready. Cool, let's play it.
Yeah, for me it's the nostalgia. I love it. Yeah.
Actual play them has to happen.
We'd do it. No
Can
sweat.
I play?
Of course.
Awesome.
Right. Who's next?
Matty Jones.
So, Matthew Jones comes in and he tells us a story about how he got lost and his truck got towed and all this stuff. I don't know why he sent that in, personally.
He's using your therapy now.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm glad that you got to the event in time, mate. I mean, that's a very weird message, but he does actually ask us a real question, so we'll do that. The end of the world has happened. You three have all been captured by a Mad Max-style villain covered in leather straps and spikes. The villain promises to release 2 of you if 2 of you agree to give the third up as a villain's sex slave. If you don't, you have to fight in a tournament where only one of you can go free. Which do you choose? If the first option, who becomes the sex slave?
Well, seeing as I'm not a regular, you guys are going to give me up, aren't you? You're
Easily.
just going to throw me to the bum.
You're a LARP master as well.
Exactly,
You'd love that.
You'd love that. I mean, as we know, LARPs are just about having sex. So, the thing is that you would love it. So
Yeah.
we're chucking you to the dogs.
There's your answer.
With relish,
I'm getting greased up, putting the gimp mask, and chained to the Thunderdome.
Goodbye, Owen.
Thank you. See you, mate.
See you, mate. And then Nick and I will get out. We're joining them if anything.
Yeah, we get involved, mate.
Jesus,
Yeah.
involved, yeah.
Got any spare gimp masks? And the last question comes in from Jason Connolly. And Jason says, I'm going to be running Dolman versus Demonic Toys.
I think it's Dolman, not Dolman. It's not like an English surname.
Okay, right. And Jason, let me try again. Dolman versus Demonic Toys at Con on the Cob in November. Any advice for running a Savage Worlds game with little heroes in a big world? Do I make the PC's size -2, or do I make them size 0 and upsize everything else? Any advice would be appreciated. Wow, proper question.
Okay.
I'll upsize everything else, I think.
Yes, upsize everything else.
Yeah.
The reason being is that if they're the main characters, then their size is considered normal.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, if you're playing a game, when I did Stranger Things, I wouldn't give every single character the young hindrance because they are considered the normal people.
Same in Barrington Halls. I never gave people young
Wicked.
hindrance. Yeah.
So the rest of the world kind of adapts to them.
Yes, exactly. So in this case, if we're taking them as the normal guys, then they're normal size and everything else will be
bigger.
considered
Also,
giant.
-2 is the lowest you can go, whereas upsizing everything else, there's no limit.
Yes, so
There you
make
go,
everything
Harrison.
else.
Must be in that
I'm
game,
sure
mate.
you're going to end up having them fight a cement mixer. It's a standard. It's textbook, isn't it? Textbook.
Yes. So
that's it.
So I hope that answers your question, and that is it for Electro Letters this time, guys. Thank you very much for your questions, everyone.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We love them.
And to all my friends who
Yeah,
are
we
asked to
love
send in LARPs questions and didn't, you suck.
So Owen asked for like LARP stories from his mates from all of his LARPs, and as you know, LARPs have a lot of people in them, right? He said, "Give me your LARP stories, guys." That's my Owen impression, right? And so people were like, "Oh, the mouse one was pretty good." So that's not a story, mate.
So many potential
fucking
stories.
try harder.
Get typing, mate. Come on.
That
just
was
give
a
us
really
one.
funny instance.
Oh, I'm sure it was, but from that I get nothing.
It's
So
lazy.
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 Anyway, thank you for the questions. We're going to move on to our award-winning outro.
Hooray!
So what do you guys think happened?
One of the players Robbie played with got carried away and killed him.
Well, that's kind of far out.
Mazes and Monsters is a far-out game. Swords, poison, spells, battles, maiming, killing.
Hey, it's all imagination.
Is it?
Yes, definitely.
I'll be talking to you.
All right, see you later. So, if you want to get in contact with us, you can do that, and there is a myriad ways you can do that. First of all,
you can send us an email, which is tabletoptwats@gmail.com.
Or you can go to the Facebook, which is /tabletopT, and we have a Twitter account, which is
at Tabletop Twats.
Then also, lastly, G+, get over there, Nerds International, come say hi, we're on there, send us a question there, get in touch with us there. And lastly, but not leastly, if anybody wants to contribute to this, is it a show? Shamble? Whatever it is.
Omnishambles.
Omnishambles, exactly. Clusterfuck, yeah. Then you can chuck us a buck or much more if you like. And
I
go
give
to our
them more.
Patreon. Yes. and
remember,
become a Patreon.
£1,000,000. What was it we said we'd do for $1 million? Oh, we'd produce foreign beggars.
That's it.
Do nothing but foreign beggars for the rest of your lives. Yeah.
And as Owen can attest to, he has been a reoccurring character in our Foreign Beggars
Totally worth it.
Campaign due to him being a Patreon, along with many others. So please do, donate and sing us a buck.
Of course, the thing about this show is, right, we know it's the only thing you do with your life, and we know that you've got,
Totally.
when this show ends, essentially you just sit in the dark, rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I've got to give you something mind food, something to think about until the next episode comes out, and I'm going to do that now. Basically, this is a question just to ponder on until next time. At what point does grave robbery become archaeology?
That's amazing. That's a good one. That's a really good question.
That's a very good one.
But now that leaves
Draw the line, yeah.
But now that just leaves one thing to be said. And of course, the other day, right, I was up a big mountain in Nepal, right, and I met this bloke, and he was like a monk, right, but behind that bloke was another monk, and that monk then told me to go round the corner, and round that corner I found a book, and then I turned to the back of that book, and in that book was some instructions that said go back down the mountain and go home because there's nothing up that mountain. It was a waste of time.
Fair.
But when I got home I meditated, and then I stopped that, and then I went to a field, and in that field God beamed a message into my head, and that message was
Chicken McBosh!
Yes!
Hey!
We did it.
Why are we clapping ourselves?